Hi everybody, this is Christine and welcome to my channel Scrappin' Rabbit. Today I've got 3 announcements to make. First, I've finished another recipe album, and this one is the same style as the other album I made earlier, the Home Sweet Home album with the Graphic 45 papers. This album is made with the Craftsmith paper stack called Tea Party. Beautiful, beautiful paper. And I also used a few images from the Graphic 45 Home Sweet Home stack that I had left over. Now the second announcement is that I finally have my tutorial finished to make this album. So if you wanted to make your own recipe book, the tutorial is available on my website. It's only $9.99 and you can make these albums either for yourself, or if you want to sell them, you can go ahead and sell the albums that you make. You can't sell the tutorial though, but you can make as many albums as you want and resell them if you like. Now, in my tutorials, I also include free links to videos where I make an album from scratch, and you can follow along. It follows the same order as the written tutorial. And the reason I like having both written and video is that once you've seen the video, you can refer to the instructions afterwards. You don't need to keep going back to the videos. The instructions have lots of photos, and that will remind you how I did it in the videos. So you can work at your own pace, and you don't need to sit at a computer when you're making your album if you have the written instructions with you. Now, the third thing that I wanted to announce is, this is a first for me, my written tutorial is now available with metric measurements. My tutorials are all written in inches, but a lot of people work with the metric system, especially out in Europe, and I've had some requests to make my tutorials and to convert the dimensions into metric. So I did this with this recipe album, and depending on the demand, I might convert some of my past tutorials into metric measurements as well. So the details about that are all on my website. So let me just go through this book. It makes a beautiful heirloom scrapbook album for recipes, but now it can also be used as a special events book, and you can switch the recipe cards with photos. So I'll show you how you can do that. On the cover, again, I use the Craftsmith paper. It's beautiful. And I have a little image here. That's from Graphic 45. Apple pie without some cheese is like a kiss without a squeeze. And the front cover is very plain. There's no embellishments on here because this is made to be stacked on your shelf. It's made to be used. There's room for 96 recipe cards in this album, and that doesn't even include the pockets. So here I've got another image from Graphic 45 on the side. Beautiful Craftsmith paper, Tea Party. And I've got a little die cut there for journaling. So this makes a beautiful gift for someone too. So when you open the album, I have here some kitchen helps. There are a list of equivalents and abbreviations, emergency substitutions, and those are included with the tutorial. It's a PDF file that you can download. So you can print as many of these as you want, and I just kept those in the little pocket at the front. Now there are 6 base pages, and there's a total of 12 pages in the album. Each base page has a large recipe index card, and on here you would write down the recipes that you have stored in this section of the album. Each section has a tab, so you could use this section for soups and salads or main dishes or whatever category of recipes that you want, and you can list the recipes on this tab. Now here there's a pocket, and I have a little card that you can open, and you can also put photos because you can keep pictures of special moments with your family in there. And this flap folds up, so you could also put photos there and on the inside. And here I included some of these plain recipe cards. They're more like a paper type card. They're not as thick as the regular index cards. I picked these up at an office supply store. So there's room for recipes on here. You can also put some recipe clippings in this pocket. Now on the back is where you would store most of your recipes for this section. It's a waterfall. Maybe before I get into the pages, I should explain a bit. The binder is a 3-inch binder. It was originally covered with vinyl, just a plain binder. Now, when I say 3-inch binders, you don't measure the binder according to the width of the spine, because the spine actually measures 3 3/4 on this album. I made it a little bit larger than the original. But to measure the width of a binder, this is a D-ring, so you would measure the flat section of this D-ring. And this one is actually 2 3/4, almost 3 inches. So you want a binder with as much as possible 3 inches in the straight area of the rings if you're going to be doing all the 6 pages in this album. Now these recipe sleeves were pulled out from a smaller album that stores 4x6 photos. So this was just a little album, cheap little album, and I pulled out the sleeves and I used them for the waterfalls. And I also designed these little recipe cards here, and they're also included in the tutorial. You can download and print as many as you want. I designed this little doll that I have on there. It's kind of cute. And on the back I included just plain recipe cards. So there's 8 sleeves for a total of 16 recipes just on the back of this page, and there's more room on the front in the pockets. This page has a crisscross flap, and I've got my large index tab in here, and then I've got a smaller tab here, and I put recipe cards in there, or you could also put photos. And there's room for recipe clippings in there. Again, you would write the category on the side. And on this page I have what I call the recipe folios. These open like that, and I've got my little recipe card on the front and those purchased cards on the back like that. And this is an image from the Graphic 45 collection. So there's room for 8 recipes on here, and there's 2 of them. So there's 16 recipes that can be put on this page. Now this is where you could also take this album, excuse me, instead of a recipe book, you could turn it into a memory album. These little dividers here, you could use those to record a special event, a title, for example, and you could use this album, say, for the first years of a baby's life, and you could have 1 tab per year because there's lots of room for photos on there. Now this page is an accordion page. There's a little flap that pulls up. I've got magnets in there, a little tab, and the accordion fold out like that. So here you could put photos. It's just matted, so you could put either 1 large photo or multiple smaller photos, or stick some more recipes there. I've got the recipe index tab here and some more recipe cards in here, and again you can put some recipe clippings in there. So there's lots of room in this album. It's made to be used. And here's room again for more recipe cards and inserting some cutouts in there. On the back of the page, we're back to the waterfall again, and then we're back to the same style as the first page in the album with the fold up and the recipe index inside the pocket. Another waterfall, and another crisscross page. It's beautiful paper. And by mixing the two collections together, you can actually extend your paper pads. My Graphic 45 is very expensive here in Canada, but by combining it with other papers, I was able to make 2 albums out of it. And here's another fold-out folio, another accordion page. I've got magnets that hold these pages closed. I forgot to put some index cards in there. I'm going to put some index cards. And my flap folds up. And you can journal in there. And you can put photos in here and journal. And then finally on the back, there's another waterfall. The inside back cover is just plain. You could put photos there if you wanted to. So that's my recipe album. I have a link to my website in the description of this video if you're interested in purchasing the tutorial. It's only $9.99. I don't charge a lot for my tutorials, and I'm happy to answer any questions. If you have questions about my tutorials, you can always email me through my website, and I'll be happy to answer them. So thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Bye.